From such projects as ease and shell of disapproval. I'm working on a project right now called Observatory, along with these guys who are very useful. Colin did a lot of JavaScript stuff. Joe has set up the server, and Tim wrote like 50 lines of code. But it was very useful. Okay, yeah. Just for the record, this is on my GitHub. If you're a Mac user, when you type a command wrong, that'll pop up. Okay, so what is Observatory? Well, if you're if you were here in previous semesters, you're all aware of the dashboard that we have, right? And you're aware of like some of the issues we've had with it, like you've been doing work, but you use Git and you use branches, so you haven't done work for months, according to it, right? So things like that, right? So Observatory is the new dashboard, and the big feature is branches, and just general betterness. I'm going to get into a demo, which is really the meat of this presentation, so like, it's much more interesting to actually look at the software. So it's written in Python with Django, which is database agnostic. We're using Postgres on the server, but yeah, we use SQLite because it's easier. And yeah, let's do the demo. That'll come. Okay. All right. So this, okay, so, well, this is the top secret front page right now. This isn't really done. This is the top secret RCOS branch, which hasn't been pushed, contrary to Peter's advice, for some reasons. If you know what a rebase is, that's why.
Again, so the name is can be tried. Rensselaer Center for Open Source Software, that is Nate's design. That's a logo that we use.
Yeah. So it doesn't quite fit on the screen because I'm limited and the images don't show up because I don't have internet. So we need to get that. Okay. Forgot that was going to come. Okay, so the big new thing is that there's this feed view that we have now, which basically lists everything. Which lists everything that pretty much everyone has ever done. Well, moments ago, there's probably a little bug that says this was moments ago, but there might be an issue with the dev server too. Peter fixed this issue, and if you click on it, it will go there, and you can see, oh, never mind. But okay, if you click on this one, this won't work. Peter's using a legacy thing. I have a set of demo users on demo projects, which is what is loaded up here right now. So Peter is one of the demo users. So like this is what I changed yesterday or today, I think. I'll change something. All right, so this is the view you're kind of used to. This is the new projects view. You can see that we replaced the kind of like red thing with these like faces that are kind of off the screen because the screen is like 800 by 600. But it's the same idea. A lot of projects have frowny faces right now. You shouldn't yell at them because a lot of them are using the new internal blog system, so they just don't have any posts, and that's why it's mad. Like, it's very mad at like itself. Anyway, if you remember the old system, you like signed up, you registered your project, and you got emailed a password or something. Or no, I think you just got echoed to the web page, which was kind of sketchy, and you had to like remember your password or write it down somewhere. So this has like a real authentication system. You can either register and use CAPTCHA, or you can just log in with netsm@gmail.com. Password's password for all the demo users. That'll be changing. And now you get like the modify controls. So now I can modify Observatory, right? So I can now it's called Observatory is cool. We'll change the description. Save that. We can change the blog settings. This is new hosted blog settings. So I noticed a lot of people were like kind of using like throwaway like Tumblr blogs or like whatever like Blogspot blogs. So I figured like why go through the hassle? It's just like you can write blog posts. If you have like a real blog, you can obviously still put that in. It works the same. You can change the repository settings. You can use if you use, it says it's Sports Mercurial, but that's a lie. It doesn't actually yet, so I should take that down. But if you use Git or Subversion, it supports both of those directly, so you get all your branches. If your version control system isn't supported though, you can just use an RSS feed like in the past. You won't get branches though. And finally, you can upload screenshots of your project, which will show up on your project page. Which is one of the main focuses of the rewrite, was that in the past, if you wanted to like see what RCOS does, you kind of like had to go to like 40 different repositories and blogs, and like maybe there's a website or a wiki or something for these projects. Here, I can click on a project. Like here's a project Tim did, and this is a bug that we fixed. The alignment thing. You can see, well, this is written by Tim and Matt.
What?
Yeah, that's just a demo thing. Okay, whatever. And you can see right away, this is how you get it. You can have a better description than that if you're actually doing it. And if you had screenshots, they would show up here. You can click on like Tim and see that Tim works on Notebook and Observatory is cool. Which has a lot of test users. These images are all pulled down off of Gravatar. If you use GitHub and you have a picture there, it'll be the same picture. Or you get one of these little dudes if you don't have one. Besides that, there's the old, we had like a feed of every blog combined here. We still have that. Anyway, it'll be going up this weekend, hopefully, and people can start adding projects. There's just like a few issues with the server that we're still working out. And yep. Anyway, I have some other things to talk about, so I should get going on that. Which is the really important part of the presentation. Okay, so now for something completely different. Yeah.
You'll be posting where the students can go into the
yeah, and there's like the add project forms are like really easy. I think anyone, if you can figure it out,
right. But the website is, will it still be observatory.arcos.cs.rpa.edu?
Well, I think we'll put it at dashboard.arcos.
cs.rpa.
Yeah, we'll just replace that one.
Oh,
Okay, so, well, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with that. But, okay, so here we go. This is the second part of my presentation, which is kind of overlapping what Colin and Peter were talking about, which is how to be pretty okay at open source stuff. Okay, it is a step-by-step guide. Okay, first thing you should do is use the Google or the Bing if you're that kind of person.
Go.
Yeah, okay. No, we shouldn't use DuckDuckGo. Go out there and research what you want to do. You know, has it been done? Do you want to make some piece of office software that's completely redundant? You can just join this project instead and they're doing exactly what you want, or improve their project somehow. Do research about like what you're going to implement it in. If you only know C++, like if you only take like CS1 and CS2, like that's okay, but like you need to learn about like libraries and like using other people's stuff because that's the point of open source. Number two, actually have a good idea. Like if your idea isn't good, like are you the only person that's going to want this? Then what's the point? Like why should we come here and talk about it? Like just write it yourself. Make sure it hasn't been done 7 times, and unless you have a really good reason. Okay.
I will take, who wants it, I would say that necessity is the mother of all invention. You should at least want it. That would be my thing. It is the software you write it, you should use it. If you can use it and if you're going to be useful, productive, then at least there is one effective use. So then you can preach about it. That would be mine.
Yeah. Okay, third one. Know what you're doing. This goes back to the researching on the Google. Go there. Let's say you want to write an application for GNOME. Go to gnome.org and read the documentation, read the GTK documentation, read the GNOME library documentation. Figure out what tools you're going to need to put together. Make sure you're not reinventing the button or something like that. It's really basic. 4, talk to other people. We have this little chat room called Found RCOS on irc.freenode.net. There's a link to it on the RCOS website, which gives you a web chat, or you can use ERC or Chatzilla or whatever. Mailing lists, not just the RCOS mailing list, but like the GNOME mailing list, if you're going for GNOME, KDE mailing lists, Django mailing lists, whatever. Don't spam them though, like learn mailing list etiquette. And then other IRC rooms, like once again, the IRC rooms for the projects that you're going to be working with. 5, choose a license. This is like the only thing that makes your code actually open source, is having a license. If you don't have a license in your repository, you are not working on open source software. You are just working on proprietary software that you happen to share the source of for people to read. My recommendation here is to fit your community. For example, if you're writing a GNOME application, you probably want to choose the GPL, because that's what will get you like accepted there. In like the Mac world, like BSD is more popular, things like that. So research the licenses, research what they mean, decide what you want. You can read this on Wikipedia, so I'm not going to walk through it. Okay, now you can write code. So the next part is to make sure people can actually use your code. So you have to actually post it. I think Peter went into that. And you also have to have some sort of way to build it. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. Okay, what's a build system? In general, a lot of people don't use your distribution if you're using Linux or BSD or your operating system. Things are slightly different between those. And also, people don't tend to use your IDE, with the exception of Xcode, which every Mac developer pretty much uses and which is accepted in that community. So how do you get around this? It's called a build system. And so instead of building it with an IDE or something, you have a generally cross-platform tool that will construct your software for you. Do all your compiling. Obviously, it applies less to like a Python web project or something. Okay, so I'm going to run through a few ones. AutoTools is kind of based on obscure macro language that's awful from the 70s, but it will make your software build on a toaster. So if you're targeting like an embedded platform, or if you want this to work on 10 years of Linux, this is a good choice. But have fun reading the documentation, because like it's awful. And this is like if you ever build software with .configure, make install, that's probably what you're using. CMake is another one. It's cross-platform. It's run by Kitware, if you're taking the open source software practice class. I don't really know that much about it, so I can't talk, but Dave knows a lot about it, so if you want to talk to him. But it'll generate like projects for various IDEs and stuff, which you can then compile in the IDE, which is kind of cool. KDE uses it, so if you're working on a KDE project, you should use CMake to fit into the community. Scones is Python-based, which I think is awesome, because you can just like, you have the full power of Python in your build system for scripting and stuff, but I didn't really like it that much. My preference right now is WAF, which is again Python-based, but it's packed into your project, so no one has to install anything besides Python, which comes on any modern operating system besides Windows. It works with the typical like configure/build phase, whereas Scones is like a one-shot thing, so you have to do the configuration kind of every time as you hack it, I guess. Ease uses WAF right now, thanks to Rob. It's really fast. It cut down the Ease build time from 60 seconds to 20 seconds. It's pretty awesome. Like I was working on a video game, and I wanted to I had a tile set, and I wanted to slice it up into different images. So I just imported the Python imaging library, and whenever I change the source image file, it automatically reslices them for me. So it's pretty great, but it's a little limited in capability. So if you're looking for really modern, targeting really modern operating systems, and not so much backward compatible stuff, I would recommend WAF. Otherwise, AutoTools or CMake is pretty cool. So, questions?